All right. Incredibly awkward. So here's what we're gonna do for you before we get started. If that's what you're gonna do, this is what I will do.
I've been waiting for you, please.
We must all be real. If I were to live there, it'd be $1 million home. So let's not bitch too much. All right, so we're gonna move on to the third part of King Henry VI. Act 1. Scene 1, London, the Parliament House. Some soldiers of York's party break in. Then enter the Duke of York, Edward, Richard, Norfolk, Montague, Warwick, and others with white roses in their hats. I wonder how the king escaped our hands. While we pursued the horsemen of the north, he slyly stole away and left his men. But the great lord of Northumberland, whose warlike ears could never brook retreat, cheered up a drooping army, and himself, Lord Clifford and Lord Stafford, all abreast, charged our main battle's front, and breaking in, were by thy swords of common soldiers slain. Lord Stafford's father, Duke of Buckingham's either slain or wounded dangerously. I cleft his beaver with a downright blow. That this is true, father, behold his blood. And brother, here's the Earl of Wiltshire's blood, whom I encountered as battle joined. Speak thou for me, and tell them that what I did.
I'm not a fan here.
Richard hath best deserved of all my sons. But is your grace dead, my lord of Somerset? Such hope have all the line of John of God. Thus do I hope to shake King Henry's head, and so do I, victorious Prince of York, before I see thee seated in that throne which now the house of Lancaster usurps. I vow by heaven these eyes shall never close. This is the palace of the fearful king, and this is the regal seat. Possess it, York, for this is thine, and not King Henry's heirs. Assist me, then, sweet Warwick, and I will, for hither we have broken in by force. We'll all assist you. He that flies shall die. Thanks, gentle Norfolk. Stay by me, my lords. And soldiers, stay and lodge by me this night. And when the king comes, offer him no violence, unless he seek to thrust you out perforce. The queen this day here holds her parliament, but little thinks we shall be of her counsel. By words or blows here let us win our right. Armed as we are, let's stay within this house. The bloody parliament shall this be called, unless Plantagenet, Duke of York, be king.
Ruck up, you're headed to the war zone.
And bashful Henry deposed, whose cowardice hath made us by words to our enemies. Then leave me not, my lords, be resolute. I mean to take possession of my rifle. Neither the king nor he that loves me, the proudest he that holds up Lancaster, dares stir a wing, that Warwick shake his bells. I'll plant Plantagenet, root him up who dares. Resolve thee, Richard, claim the English crown. Enter King Henry, Clifford, Northumberland, Westmoreland, Exeter, and others with red roses in their hands. My lords, look where the sturdy rebels sit. Even in the chair of state, be like he means, backed by the power of Warwick, that false peer, to aspire unto the crown and reign as king. Earl of Northumberland, he slew thy father, and thine, Lord Clifford, and you both have vowed revenge on him, his sons, his favorites, and his friends. If I be not, heavens be revenged on me. The hope thereof makes Clifford more than steel. What, shall we suffer this? Let's pluck him down. My heart for anger burns, I cannot brook it. Be patient, gentle Earl of Westmoreland. Patience is for poltroons, such as he. He durst not sit there had your father lived. My gracious lord, here in the parliament bless the sail of the family of York. Well, hast thou spoken, cousin? Be it so. Ah, know you not the city favors them? And they have troops of soldiers at their back. But when the Duke is slain, they'll quickly fly. Far be the thought of this from Henry's heart, to make a shambles of the Parliament House. Cousin of Exeter frowns words and threats shall be the war that Henry means to use. Though factious Duke of York, descend my throne, and kneel for grace and mercy at my feet. I am thy sovereign. I am thine. For shame, come down. He made thee Duke of York. 'Twas my inheritance that's the earldom
You
was.
feel it right there.
Thy father was a traitor to the crown. Exeter, thou art a traitor to the crown in following this usurping Henry. Whom should he follow but his natural king? True, Clifford, and that's Richard, Duke of York. And shall I stand and now sit in my throne? It must and shall be so. Content thyself.
Hunt down the enemy.
Be Duke of Lancaster, let him be king. He is both king and Duke of Lancaster, and that the Lord of Westmoreland shall maintain. And Warwick shall disprove it. You forget that we are those which chased you from the field and slew your fathers, and with colors spread marched through the city to the palace's gates. Yes, Warwick, I remember it to my grief, and by his soul thou and thy house shall rue it. Plantagenet of thee, and these thy sons, thy kinsmen and thy friends, I have more lives than drops of blood were in my father's veins.
Capture it for information
Urge it
on the
no
next
more,
gas
lest
spring.
that instead of words I send thee, Warwick, such a messenger as shall revenge his death before I stir. For Clifford, how I scorn his worthless threats. Will you we show our titles to the crown? If not, our swords shall plead it in the field. What title hast thou, traitor, to the crown? Thy father was, as thou art, Duke of York. Thy grandfather, Roger Mortimer, Earl of March. I am the son of Henry V, who made the Dauphin and the French to stoop, and seized upon their towns and provinces.
Stay there to secure the
Talk
intel
not of
point.
France, sith thou hast lost it all. The Lord Protector lost it, and not I. When I was crowned, I was but 9 months old. You're old enough now, and yet methinks you lose. Father, tear the crown from the usurper's head.
Be advised, an enemy squad is tracking your location. Intel point captured. Great work. You've earned a peek at the next gas spread.
Father, tear the crown from the usurper's head. Sweet father, do so. Set it upon your head. Good brother, as thou lovest in honored arms, let's fight it out and not stand cattling thus.
Bounty targets marked. Kill 'em all.
Sound drums and trumpets, and the king will fly. Sons, peace, peace thou, and give King Henry leave to speak. Plantagenet shall speak first, hear him, Lord, and be you silent and attentive too. For he that interrupts him shall not live. Thinkest thou that I will leave my kingly throne, wherein my grandsire and my father sat? No, first shall war unpeople this my realm, aye, and their colors often born in France. And now in England to our hearts grow sorrow, shall be my winding sheet. Why faint you, lords? My title good, and then the fall. Prove it, Clayton, and thou shalt be king. Henry IV by conquest got the crown. 'Twas by rebellion against his king. I know not what to say, my title's weak. Tell me, may not the king adopt an heir? What then? And if he may, then am I a lawful king? For Richard in the view of many lords resigned the crown to Henry IV, whose heir my father was, and I am his. He rose against him, being his sovereign, and made him to resign his crown perforce. Suppose, my lords, he did it unconstrained. Think you 'twere prejudicial to his crown? I think you got the sentinel out. Hold on. Art thou against us, Duke of Exeter? Is it? His is the right, and therefore pardon me. Why whisper you, my lords, and answer not? My conscience tells me he is a lawful king.
Reloading.
All time to want.
I don't feel like it, you know? I appreciate it, though. I feel a little dirty. my ego's not getting boosted enough. You know, that alien's not doing its job right, I guess. What's missing here? All will revolt from me, and turn to him. Plantagenet, for all the claim thou layest, think not that Henry shall be so deposed. Deposed he shall be in despite of all. Thou art deceived, 'tis not thy southern power, of Essex, Norfolk, Suffolk, nor of Kent, which makes thee thus stand fast. You set the Duke up in despite of me. King Henry, be thy title right or wrong, Lord Clifford vows to fight in thy defense. No, Wagner. May that ground gape and swallow me alive, or I shall kneel to him that slew my father. Wait, Clifford, how thy words revive my heart. Henry of Lancaster, resign thy crown. What mutter you, or what conspire you, lords? Do right unto this princely Duke of York. Oh, I will fight the house with armed men, and o'er the chair of state, where now he sits, right up his title with a supreme blood. My lord of Warwick, hear me but one word. Let me for this my lifetime reign as king. Confirm the crown to me and mine heirs, and thou shalt reign quite while thou livest. I am content, Richard Plantagenet, enjoy the kingdom after my decease. No. What wrong is this unto the prince your son? What good is this to England in himself?
Enemy UAV overhead.
Base, fearful, and despairing, Henry, how hast thou injured both myself and us? I cannot stay to hear these articles, nor I. Come, cousin, let us tell the queen these news. Farewell, faint-hearted and degenerate king, whose cold blood no spark of honor bides. Be thou a prey unto the house of York, and die in bands for this unmanly deed. In dreadful war mayst thou be overcome, or live in peace abandoned and despised. Turn this way, Henry, and regard them not. They seek revenge, and therefore will not yield. Ah, Exeter, and should you sigh, my lord? Not for myself, Lord Warwick, but my son, whom I unnaturally shall disinherit. But be it as it may, I here entail the crown to thee and to thine heirs forever, conditionally that here thou take an oath to cease this civil war, and whilst I live to honor me as thy king and sovereign, and neither by treason nor hostility to seek to put me down and reign thyself. This oath I willingly take and will perform. Long live King Henry, Plantagenet, embrace him. And long live thou and these thy forward sons. Now York and Lancaster are reconciled. Accursed be he that seeks to make them foes. Farewell, my gracious lord. I'll to my castle. And I'll keep London with my soldiers. And I to Norfolk with my followers. And I unto the sea from whence I came. Which Norfolk Montague soldiers and attendants. And I, with grief and sorrow, to the court. Enter Queen Margaret and the Prince of Wales. Here comes the Queen, who looks bewray her anger.
Gas is inbound.
I'll steal her away. Exeter, so will I. Nay, go not from me, I will follow thee. Be patient, gentle Queen, and I will stay. Who can be patient in such extremes? Ah, wretched man, would I had died a maid, and never seen thee, never borne thee son, seeing thou hast proved so unnatural a father? Hast he deserved to lose his birthright thus? Hadst thou but loved him half so well as I, or felt such pain which I did for him once, or nourished him as I did with my blood, thou wouldst have left my dearest heart's-blood there, rather than have made that savage duke thine heir, and disinherited thine only son. Father, you cannot disinherit me. If you be king, why should I not succeed? Pardon me, Margaret, pardon me, sweet son. The Earl of Warwick enforced me. Enforced thee? Art thou king, and wilt be enforced? I shame to hear thee speak. Ah, timorous wretch, thou hast undone thyself, thy son and me, and given unto the house of York such head as thou shalt reign but by their sufferance. to entail him and his heirs into the crown, which is it, but to make thy sepulture and grief into it far before thy time. Warwick is chancellor and the lord of Gallus. Stern Falconbridge commands the narrow seas. The duke is made protector of the realm, and yet shalt thou be safe? Such safety finds the trembling lamb environed with wolves. Had I been there, which am a silly woman, the soldiers should have tossed me on their pike, for I would have granted it to that act. But thou preferrest thy life before thy honor, and seeing thou dost, I here divorce myself, both from thy table, Henry, and thy bed, until the act of Parliament be repealed, whereby my son is disinherited. The northern lords that have forsworn thy colours will follow mine, if once they see them spread, and spread they shall be, to the foul disgrace, and utter ruin of the house of York. Thus do I leave thee. Come, son, let's away. Our army's ready. Come, we'll after them. Stay, gentle Margaret, and hear me speak. Thou hast spoke too much already. Get thee gone. Gentle son Edward, thou wilt stay with me? Aye, to be murdered by his enemies. When I return with victory from the field, I'll see your grace. Till then I'll follow you. Come, son, away. You may not live with us. Poor queen, our love to me and to her son hath made her break out and her turn. Revenge may she be on that hateful duke. His haughty spirit, winged with desire, will cost my crown, and like an empty eagle tire on the flesh of me and of my son. The loss of those three lords torments my heart. I'll write unto them and entreat them fair. Come, cousin, you shall be the messenger, and I hope shall reconcile them all.
Taking effective fire!
Third part, King Henry
I'm reloading!
the Sixth. A room in Stanley Castle, near Wakefield in Yorkshire. Enter Edward, Richard, and Michael. Again, we're not affiliated. A room in Sandal Castle here. I'm really trying hard. Brother, though I be youngest, give me leave. No, I can better play the orator, but I have reasons strong and forcible. Enter York. Why, how now, sons and brother, at the strife? What is your quarrel? How began it first? No quarrel, but a slight contention. About what? About that which concerns your grace and us. The crown of England, father, which is yours. Mine? Boy? Not kill King Henry, be dead. Your right depends not on his life or death. Now your heir, therefore enjoy it now, by giving the house of Lancaster leave to breathe. It will outrun you, father, in the end. This is unfortunate. I took an oath that he should quietly reign. But for a kingdom any oath may be broken. I would break 1,000 oaths to reign 1 year. No, God forbid your grace should be forsworn. I shall be, if I claim by open war. I'll prove the contrary if you'll hear my speech. Thou canst not, son, it is impossible. An oath is of no moment, being not took before a true and lawful magistrate that hath authority over him that swears. Henry had none, but did usurp the place. Get Wagner off there, thank you. Then seeing 'twas he that made you to depose, your oath, my lord, is vain and frivolous. Therefore to arms. And father, do but think how sweet a thing it is to wear a crown, within whose circuit is Elysium, and all that poets feign of bliss and joy. Why do we linger thus? I cannot rest until the white rose that I wear be dyed, even the lukewarm blood of Henry's heart. Richard, enough, I will be king or die. Brother, thou shalt to London presently, and wet on Warwick to this enterprise. Thou, Richard, shalt unto the Duke of Norfolk, and tell him privily of our intent. You, Edward, shall unto my lord Cobham, with whom the Kentchmen will willingly rise. In them I trust, for they are soldiers, witty, courteous, liberal, full of spirit. While you are thus employed, what resteth more, but that I seek occasion how to rise, and yet the king not privy to my drift, nor any of the house of Lancaster? Enter a messenger. But stay, what news? What comest thou in such post? The queen with all the northern earls and lords intend here to besiege you in your castle. She is hard by with 20,000 men, and therefore fortify your hold, my lord. I with my sword, what? Think'st thou that we fear them? Edward and Richard, you shall stay with me. My brother Montague shall post to London. Let noble Warwick, Cobham, and the rest, whom we have left protectors of the king, with powerful policy strengthen themselves. That's not simple Henry, nor his oath.
Reloading!
Brother, I go. I'll win them. Fear it not, and thus most humbly I do take my leave. And Sir John and Sir Hugh Mortimer. Sir John and Sir Hugh Mortimer, mine uncles, you are come to scandal in a happy hour. The honor of Queen Mary besiege us. She shall not need, or need her in fear. What with 5,000 men? I with 500, father for a need. A woman's general, what should we fear? I hear their drums, let's set our men in order, and issue forth and bid them battle straight. 5 men to 20, though the odds be great, I doubt not, uncle, of our victory. Many a battle have I won in France, when as the enemy hath been 10 to 1. Why should I not now have the like to success? Scene 3. Field of battle between Sandal Castle and Wakefield. Excursions. Enter Rutland and his tutor. Whither shall I fly to escape their hands? Tutor, look, where bloody Clifford comes. Enter Clifford and soldiers. Chaplain, away, thy priesthood saves thy life. As for the brat of this accursed duke, whose father slew my father, he shall die, and I, my lord, will bear him company. Soldiers, away with him. Clifford, murder not this innocent child, lest thou be hated both of God and man. How now, is he dead already, or is it fear that makes him close his eyes? I'll open them. So looks the pent-up lion o'er the wretch that trembles under his devouring paws, and so he walks, insulting o'er his prey, and so he comes to rend his limbs asunder. Gentle Clifford, kill me with thy sword, and not with such a cruel, threatening look. Sweet Clifford, hear me speak before I die. I am too mean a subject for thy wrath. Be thou revenged on men, and let me
Enemies
live.
dropping into the AO.
'Tis in vain. In vain thou speakest, poor boy. My father's blood hath stopped the passage where thy words should enter. Then let my father's blood open it again. He is a man, and Clifford cope with him. Had I thy brethren here, their lives and mine were not revenge sufficient for me. No, if I digged up thy forefathers' grave and hung their rotten coffins up in chains, it could not slake mine ire, nor ease my heart. The sight of any of the house of York is as a fury to torment my soul, until I root out the accursed line, and leave not one alive. I live in hell. Therefore, oi, let me pray before I take my death. To thee I pray. Sweet Clifford, pity me.
Fire solution was bad.
Such pity as my rapier's point affords. I never did thee harm. Why wilt thou slay me? Thy father hath. But 'twas ere I was born. Thou hast one son. For his sake pity me, lest in revenge thereof, sith God is just, he be as miserable slain as I. Let me live in prison all my days, and when I give occasion of offense, then let me die. For now thou hast no cause. No cause. Thy father slew thy father, therefore die.
Closing in. Relocating safe zone. Gulag's closed until further notice.
Disfaciant ladies, summa sit istetuas. Plantagenet I come Plantagenet,
You've got a loadout.
and this thy son's blood cleaving to my blade shall rest upon my weapon, till thy blood, congealed with this, do make me wipe off both. Scene 4, another part of the plains, Alurum into York. The arm of the queen hath got the fields. My uncles both are slain and rescued me, and all my followers to the eager foe turn back and fly, like ships before the wind, or lambs pursued by hunger-starved wolves. My sons, God knows what hath bechanced them. For this I know, they have demeaned themselves like men born to renown my life or death. 3 times did Richard make a lane to me, and thrice cried, "Courage, father, fight it out." And full as oft came Edward to my side, with purple falchion, painted to the hilt in blood of those that had encountered him. And when the hardiest warriors did retire, Richard cried, "Charge, and give no foot of ground," and cried, "A crown, or else a glorious tomb, a scepter, or an earthly sepulture." With this we charged again, but out alas, we bodged again, as I have seen a swan with bootless labor swim against the tide, and spend her strength with overmatching waves. Ah, hark! The fatal followers do pursue, and I am faint and cannot fly their fury. And were I strong, I would not shun their fury.
Is unfortunate.
The sands are numbered that make up my life. Here must I stay, and here my life must end. Enter Queen Margaret, Clifford, Northumberland, the young prince, and soldiers. Come, bloody Clifford, rough Northumberland, I dare your quenchless fury to more rage. I am your butt, and I am abide your shot.
Enemy UAV is online.
Yield to our mercy, proud Plantagenet. Aye, to such mercy as his ruthless arm with downright payment showed unto my father.
Supply
appreciate
crates have
you,
been
son.
restocked. Load up.
You're definitely my son. You're definitely a son of mine. Now, Clayton hath tumbled from his car, and made an evening at the
Hostile
noontide
UAV
prick.
in the area.
My ashes as the phoenix may bring forth a bird that will revenge upon you all. And in that hope I throw mine eyes to heaven, scorning what error you can afflict me with. Why come you not? What, multitude you, and fear? So cowards fight when they can fly no further. So doves do peck the falcon's piercing talons, so desperate thieves, all hopeless of their lives, breathe out invectives against the officers. Wait, Clifford, but methinks thee once again, and in thy thought o'errun my former time. And if thou canst for blushing view this face, and bite thy tongue, that slanders him with cowardice, whose frown hath made thee faint and fly ere this, I will not bandy with thee word for word, but buckle with thee blows twice 2 for 1. Hold, valiant Clifford, for 1,000 causes I would prolong a while the treasured life. Wrath makes him deaf. Speak thou, Northumberland. Hold, Clifford, do not honor him so much, to prick thy finger, thou to wound his heart. What valor were it, when a cur doth grin? For one to thrust his hand between his teeth, when he might spurn him with his foot away? It is war's prize to take all advantages, and 10 to 1 is no impeach of valor. Aye, so strives the woodcock with the gin. So doth the connie struggle to the net. So triumph thieves upon their conquered booty. So true men yield, with robbers so e'er matched. What would your race have done unto him now? Brave warriors, Clifford and Northumberland, come, make him stand upon this molehill here, that wrought at mountains with outstretched arms, yet parted but the shadow with his hand. What, was it you that would be England's king? What's you that revelled in our parliament and made preachment of your high descent? Where are your messes of sons to back you now? The wanton Edward and the lusty George? And where's that valiant crook-backed prodigy, Dicky, your boy, that with his grumbling voice was wont to cheer his dad in Multonies? Or with the rest, where's your darling Rutland? Look, York, I stained this napkin with the blood that valiant Clifford with his rapier's point made issue from the bosom of the boy. And if thy eyes can watch for his death, I give thee this to dry thy cheeks withal. Alas, poor York, but that I hate thee deadly, I should lament thy miserable state. I prithee grieve to make me merry, York. What hath thy fury heart so parched thine entrails, that not a tear can fall for Rutland's death? Why art thou patient, man? Thou shouldst be mad. And I, to make thee mad, do mock thee thus. Stamp, rave, and fret, that I may sing and dance. Thou wouldst be feed, I see, to make me sport. York cannot speak unless he wear a crown. A crown for York, and lords, bow low to him. Hold you his hand whilst I do set it on. Ay, marry, sir, now looks he like a king. Ay, this is he that look King Henry's chair, and this is he was his adopted heir. And how is it that great Plantagenet is crowned so soon, and broke his solemn oath? And as I bethink me, you should not be king till our King Henry had shook hands with death. And will you pell your head in Henry's glory, and rob his temples of the diadem, now in his life, against your holy oath? Oy, 'tis a faulty too unpardonable. Off with the crown, and with the crown his head, and whilst we breathe, take him to do him dead. That is my office, for my father's sake. Nay, stay, let's hear the orisons he makes. She-wolf of France, but worse than wolves of France, whose tongue more poisons than the adder's tooth. How ill-beseeming is it in thy sex, to triumph like an Amazonian troll upon their woes whom fortune captivates. But that thy face is visor-like, unchanging, made impudent with use of evil deeds, I would essay, proud queen, to make thee blush, to tell thee whence thou camest, of whom derived, or shame enough to shame thee, wert thou not shameless. Thy father bears the type of king of Naples, of both the Sicilies and Jerusalem, yet not so wealthy as an English yeoman. Hath that poor monarch taught thee to insult? It needs not, nor it boots thee not, proud queen, unless the adage must be verified, that beggars mounted run their horse to death. 'Tis beauty that doth oft make women proud, but God he knows thy share thereof is small. 'Tis virtue that doth make him most admired, the contrary doth make thee wanton. 'Tis government that makes them seem divine, the want thereof makes thee abominable. Thou art as opposite to every good as the antipodes are unto us, or as the south to the septentrion. Oy, tiger's hearts wrap in a woman's hide. How couldst thou drain the lifeblood of a child to bid the father wipe his eyes withal, and yet be seen to bear a woman's face? Woman are soft, mild, pitiful, and flexible. Thou stern, obdurate, flinty, rough, remorseful, bidst thou me rage? Why now thou hast thy wish. Wouldst have me weep? Why now thou hast thy will. For raging wind blows up incessant showers, and when the rage allays the rain begins. These tears are my sweet Rutland's obsequies, and every drop cries vengeance for his death. Against thee, fell Clifford, and thee, false French woman. Beshrew me, but his passion moves me so that hardly can I check my eyes from tears. That face of his the hungry cannibals would not have touched, would not have stained with blood. But you are more inhuman, more inexorable, oy, 10 times more than tigers of Hircania. See, Ruth's queen, a hapless father's tears. This cloth thou dipst in blood, my sweet boy, and I with tears do wash the blood away. Keep thou the napkin, and go boast of this. And if thou tellest the heavy story right, upon my soul the hearers will shed tears. Yea, even my foes will shed fast falling tears, and say, alas, it was a piteous deed. There take the crown, and with the crown my curse, and in my needs let comfort come to thee, as now I reap at thy too cruel hand. Hard-hearted Clifford, take me from the world, my soul to heaven, my blood upon your head. Had he been slaughter man to all my kin, I should not fear my life, but for weep with him, to see how inly sorrow gripes his soul. What? Weeping ripe, my lord Northumberland? Think but upon the wrong he did us all, he that will quickly dry thy melting tears. Here's for my oath, here's for my father's death, and here's to right our gentle-hearted king. Open thy gate of mercy, gracious God. My soul flies through these wounds to seek out thee. Off with his head, and set it on York gates, so York may overlook the town of York. Alright. Act 2 of Henry VI Part 3. How now? Scene 1. A plain near Mortimer's Cross in Herefordshire. Enter Edward and Richard with their forces marching. I wonder how our princely father scraped, or whether he be scraped away or no, from Clifford and Northumberland's pursuit. Had he been ta'en, we should have heard the news.
I saw the light there.
Had he been slain, we should have heard the news, or had he escaped, methinks we should have heard the happy tidings of his good escape. How fares my brother? Why is he so sad? I cannot joy until I be resolved where our right valiant father has become. I saw him in the battle range back, and watched him how he singled Clifford forth. We fought before him in the biggest troop as step a line in a herd of meat, or as a bear encompassed round, and dogs, who having pinched a few and made them cry, the rest stand all aloof and bark at him. So fared our father with his enemies. So fled his enemies, my warlike father. Methinks 'tis prize enough to be his son. See how the morning opens her golden gates, and takes her farewell of the glorious sun. How well resembles it the prime of youth, trimmed like a young fancy to his love.
Contract failed. Objective lost. The last chance. Fight to earn redeployment. Let's have ourselves a fight.
Dazzle mine eyes, or do I see 3 suns? 3 glorious suns, each one a perfect sun, not separated with the racking clouds, but served in a pale, clearing, shining sky. See, they join, embrace, and seem to kiss, as if they vowed some league inviolable. Now are they but one lamp, one light, one sun? In this the heaven figures some event. 'Tis wondrous strange, the like yet never heard of. I think it cites us, rather, to the field, that we, the sons of blaze, planted in it, each one already blazing by our meads, should notwithstanding join our lights together, and overshine the earth as this the world, which ere its bodes henceforward will I bear upon my target 3 fair and shining suns. Nay, bear 3 daughters, by your leave I speak it. You love the breeder better than the male. As a messenger. But what art thou? Whose heavy looks to tell some dreadful story hanging on my tongue? Ah, one left us a woeful looker on, when as the noble Duke of York was slain, your princely father and my loving lord. Oi, speak no more, for I have heard much. Say how he died, for I will hear it all. Environed, he was with many foes, and stood against them as the hope of Troy against the Greeks that would have entered Troy. But Hercules himself must yield odds, and many strokes so with a little axe, hew down and fell the hardest timbered oak. By many hands your father was subdued, but only slaughtered by the ireful arm of unrelenting Clifford, and the queen, who crowned the gracious duke in a high despite. Laughed in his face, and when with grief he wept, the ruthless queen gave him to dry his cheeks a napkin steeped in the harmless blood of sweet young Rutland, by rough Clifford slain. And after many scorns, many foul taunts, they took his head, and on the gates of York they set the same, and there it doth remain, the saddest spectacle that e'er I viewed. Sweet Duke of York, our prop to lean upon, now thou art gone, we have no staff, no stay. Oi, Clifford, boisterous Clifford, thou hast slain the flower of Europe for his chivalry, and treacherously hast thou vanquished him, for hand to hand he would have vanquished thee. Now my soul's palace has become a prison. Ah, will she break from thence, that this my body might in the ground be closed up in rest? For never henceforth shall I join again. Never shall I see more joy. I cannot weep, for all my body's moisture scarce serves to quench my furnace burning heart, nor can my tongue unload my heart's great burden. For self-same wind that I should speak withal is kindling coals that fire all my breast, and burn me up with flames that tears would quench. To weep is to make less the depth of grief. Tears then, for beds, blows and revenge for me. Richard, I bear thy name. I'll avenge thy death, or die renowned by attempting it. His name that valiant duke hath left with thee, his dukedom and his chair with me is left. Nay, if thou be that princely eagled bird, show thy descent by gazing against the sun. For chair and dukedom, throne and kingdom, say, either that is thine, or else thou wert not his. March into Warwick and the Marquis of Montague with forces. How now, fair lords, what fare? What news abroad? Great Lord of Warwick, if we should recount our baleful news, and at each word's deliverance stab poniards in our flesh till all were told, the words would add more anguish than the wounds. O valiant lord, the Duke of York is slain. O Warwick, that Plantagenet which held these dearly as his soul's redemption, is by the stern Lord Clifford done to death. 10 days ago I drowned these news in tears, and now to add more measure to your woes, I come to tell you of things with such befallion. After the bloody fray at Wakefield fought, where your brave father breathed his latest gaff, tidings as swiftly as the post could run, were brought me of your loss and his depart. I then in London, keeper of the king, mustered my soldiers, gathered flocks of friends, and very well appointed, as I thought, marched towards St. Albans to intercept the queen, bearing the king in my behalf along. For by my scouts I was advertised that she was coming with a full intent to dash our late decree in Parliament, touching King Henry's oath and your succession. Short tale to make, we at St. Albans met, our battles joined, and both sides fiercely fought. But whether 'twas the coldness of the king, who looked fully gentle on his warlike queen, that robbed my soldiers of their heated spleen, or whether 'twas the report of her success, or more than common fear of Clifford's rigor, who thunders to his captive's blood and death, I cannot judge. But to conclude with truth, their weapons like the lightning came and went. Our soldiers, like the night owl's lazy flight, or like a lazy thresher with a flail, full gently down as if they struck their friends. I cheered them up with justice of our cause, with promise of high pay and great rewards, but all in vain. They had no heart to fight, and we in them no hope to win the day. So that we fled, the king and to the queen. Lord George, your brother, Norfolk, and myself in haste, post-haste, are come to join with you. For in the marches here we heard you were, making another head to fight again. Where is the Duke of Norfolk, gentle Warwick? And when comes George from Burgundy to England? Some 6 miles off the Duke is with the soldiers, and for your brother he was late to send from your kind aunt, Duchess of Burgundy, with aid of soldiers to his need for war. 'Twas odds, belike, when valiant Warwick fled. Oft have I heard his praises in pursuit, but ne'er till now his scandal of retire. Now my scandal, Richard, dost thou hear? For thou shalt know this strong right hand of mine can pluck the diadem from faint Henry's head, and wring the awful scepter from his fist, where he is famous, and as bold in war as he is famed the mildness, peace, and prayer. I know 't well, Lord Warwick, blame me not. 'Tis love I bear thy glories make me speak. But in this troublous time what be done? Shall we go throw away our coats of steel, and wrap our bodies in black mourning gowns, numbering our Ave Maries with our beads? Or shall we on the helmets of our foes tell our devotion with revengeful arms? If for the last say I, and to it lords. Why therefore Warwick came to seek you out, and therefore comes my brother Montague. Attend me, lords. The proud insulting queen with Clifford and the haught Northumberland, and of their feather many more proud birds, have wrought the easy melting king like wax. He swore consent to your succession, his oath enrolled in the Parliament, and now to London all the crew are gone. To frustrate both his oath and what beside may make against the house of Lancaster, the power I think is 30,000 strong. Now with the help of Norfolk and myself, with all the friends that thou, brave Earl of March, amongst the loving Welshmen canst procure, will put them out to 25,000. Why via to London will we march amain, and once again bestride our foaming steeds, and once again turn upon our foes, but never once again turn back and fly. Aye, now methinks I hear great Warwick speak. Ne'er may he live to see a sunshine day. The cries retire, if Warwick bid him stay. Lord Warwick, on thy shoulder will I lean, and when thou failest, as God forbid the hour, must Edward fall, which peril heaven forbid. No longer Earl of March, but Duke of York, the next degree in England's royal throne. The King in England shalt thou be proclaimed in every borough as we pass along, and he that throws not of his cap for joy shall for the fault make forfeit of his head. King Edward, valiant Richard Montague, say we no longer dream of renown, but sound the trumpets and about our task. Then, Clifford, were thy heart as hard as steel, as thou hast shown a flinty by thy deeds. I come to piece it, I come to pierce it, or to give thee mine. Then strike up, drums, God and St. George for us. Enter a messenger. How now, what news? The Duke of Norfolk sends you word by me the Queen is coming with a puissant host, and craves your company for speedy counsel. Why then its swords, brave warriors, let's away. Scene 2 before York. Enter King Henry, Queen Margaret, the Prince of Wales, Clifford, and Northumberland with drums and trumpets. Welcome, my lord, to this brave town of York. Yonder's the head of that arch-enemy, that sought to be encompassed with your crown. Doth not the object cheer your heart, my lord? Aye, the rocks cheer them that fear the rack. To see this sight, it irks my very soul. Withhold revenge. Dear God, 'tis not my fault, nor originally have I infringed my vow. My gracious liege, this too much lenity and harmful pity must be laid aside. To whom do lions cast their gentle looks? Not to the beasts that would usurp their den. Whose hand is that the forest bear doth lick? Not to that spoils her young before her face. Who scapes that lurking serpent's mortal sting? Not he that sets his foot upon her back. The smallest worm will turn being trodden on, and doves will peck and safeguard of the brood. Ambitious York did level on thy crown. My gracious liege, this is too much lenity and harmful pity must be laid aside. The smallest worm will turn, being trodden on, and doves will peck and safeguard other brood. Ambitious York did level at thy crown. Though smiling while he knit his angry brows, he but a duke would have his son a king, and raise his issue like a loving sire. Though being a king blessed with a goodly son, didst yield consent to disinherit him, which argued thee a most unloving father. Unreasonable creatures feed their young, and though man's face be fearful to their eyes, yet in protection of their tender ones, who hath not seen them, even with their wings, which sometime they have used with fearful flight, make war with him that climbed into their nest, offering their own lives in their young's defense. For shame, my liege, make them your precedent. Were it not pity that this goodly boy should lose his birthright by his father's fault, and long hereafter say unto his child, Your squad made it to the safe zone. What my great-grandfather and grandsire got, my careless father fondly gave away. Ah, what a shame were this! Look on the boy, and let his manly face, which promises successful fortune, steel thy melting heart, to hold thine own and leave thine own with him. Full well hath Clifford played the orator, inferring arguments of mighty force. But Clifford, tell me, didst thou never hear that things ill get mad, ever bad success? And happy always was it for that son, whose father for his hoarding went to hell. I'll leave my son my virtuous deeds behind, and would that my father had left me no more, for all the rest is held at such a rate, as brings 1,000-fold more care to keep, than in possession any jot of pleasure. Ah, cousin York, what thy best friends did know, how it doth grieve me that thy head is here. My lord, cheer up your spirits, our foes are high, and this soft courage makes your followers faint. You promised knighthood to our forward son. Unsheath your sword, and dub him presently. Clayton, kneel down. Edward Plantagenet, arise a knight. and learn this lesson. Draw thy sword and right. My gracious father, by your kingly leave, I'll draw it as a parent to the crown, and in that quarrel use it to the death. Why, that is spoken like a two-word prince. Enter a messenger. Royal commanders, be in readiness. For the band of 30,000 men comes Warwick backing of the Duke of York, and in the towns as they march along proclaims him king, and many fly to him. Dare in your battle, for they are at hand. I would your highness would depart the field. The queen hath best success when you are absent. Aye, good my lord, and leave us to our fortune. Why, that's my fortune too, therefore I'll stay. Beat it with resolution then to fight. My royal father, cheer these noble lords, and hearten those that fight in your defence, and sheathe your sword, good father, cry St. George. March, enter Edward, George, Richard, Warwick, Norfolk, Montague, and soldiers. Now, perjure, Henry, wilt thou kneel for grace, and set thy diadem upon my head, or bide the mortal fortune of thy field? Go rate thy minions, proud insulting boy. Becomes it thee to be thus bold in terms before thy sovereign and thy lawful king? I am his king, and he should bow his knee. I was adopted heir by his consent, since when his oath is broke, for as I hear, you that are king, though he do wear the crown, have caused him by new act of parliament to blot out me, and put his own son in. To blot out me, Clayton Dale Smith, and put his own son in. And reason too, why should succeed the father but the son? Are you there, butcher? Oi, I cannot speak. I, Crookback, here I stand to answer thee, or any he that proudest of thy sort. 'Twas you that killed young Rutland, was it not? Aye, and old York, and yet not satisfied. For God's sake, lords, give signal to the fight. What sayest thou, Henry? Wilt thou yield the crown? Why, how now, long-tongued Warwick, dare you speak? When you and I met at St. Albans last, your legs did better service than are your hands. Then 'twas my turn to fly, and now 'tis thine. You said so much before, and yet you fled. 'Twas not your valor, that drove me thence. No, nor your manhood that durst make your stay. Northumberland, I hold thee reverently, break off the parley, for scarce I can refrain the execution of my big swollen heart upon that Clifford, that cruel child-killer. I slew thy father, call'st thou him a child? Aye, like a dastard and a treacherous coward, as thou didst kill our tender brother Rutland. But ere sunset I'll make thee curse the deed. Have done with words, my lords, and hear me speak. Defy them, then, or else hold close thy lips. I prithee, give no limits to my tongue. I am a king, and privileged to speak. My liege, the wound that bred this meeting here cannot be curled by words, therefore be still.
Gas is closing in.
Then, executioner, unsheath thy sword. By him that made us all, I am resolved that Clifford manhood lies upon his tongue. Say, Henry, shall I have my right or no? 1,000 men have broke their fasts today, that ne'er shall dine unless thou yield the crown. If thou deny, their blood upon thy head, for York in justice puts his armor on. If that be right which Warwick says is right, there is no wrong, but everything is right. Whoever got thee, there my mother stands. For what I wot thou hast thy mother's tongue. But thou art neither like thy sire, nor damn, but like a foul mishappen, stigmatic, marked by thy distance to be avoided, as venom toads or lizards' dreadful stings. Iron of Naples hid with English guilt, whose father bears the title of a king, as if the channel should be called the sea. Shamest thou not, knowing whence thou art extraught, to let thy tongue detect thy base-born heart? A wish of straw were worth 1,000 crowns, to make this shameless callet know herself. Helen of Greece was fairer far than now, although thy husband may be Menelaus, and ne'er was Agamemnon's brother wronged by that false woman as the king by thee. His father revelled in the heart of France, and tamed by the king made the dolphin stoop. And had he matched according to his state, he might have kept that glory to this day. But when he took a beggar to his bed, and graced thy poor sire with his bridal day, even that the sunshine brewed a shower for him, that washed his father's fortune forth to France, and heaped sedition on his crown at home. For what hath broached this tumult but thy pride? Hadst thou been meek, our title still had slept, and we, in pity of the gentle king, had slipped our claim until another age. But when we saw our sunshine made thy spring, and that the summer bred us snow increase, we set the axe to thy usurping root. And though the edge hath something hit ourselves, yet known thou, since we have begun to strike, will never leave till we have hewn thee down, or bathe thy growing with our heated bloods. And in this resolution I defy thee, not willing any longer conference, since thou deniest the gentle king to speak. Sound trumpets, let our bloody colors wave, and neither victor or else a grave. Stay, Edward. No wrangling man will no longer say, these words will cost 2,000 miles this day. Scene 3. A field of battle between Towton and Saxon in Yorkshire. I learned excursions into Warwick. For spent we toil, as runners with race, I lay me down a little while to breathe. For strokes received and many blows repaid have wrought my strong knit sinews of their strength, and spite of spite needs must I rest a while. Enter Edward running. Smile, gentle heaven, or strike ungentle death, for this world frowns, and Edward's sun is clouded. How now, my lord, what hap? What hope of good? Enter George.
Your squad mate lost the fight.
Our hap is lost, our hope but sad despair.
Earn redeployment.
Our ranks are broke, and ruin follow us. What counsel give thou? Whither shall we fly? Bootless as flight, they follow us with wings, and weak we are and cannot shun pursuit. Unto Richard. Ah, Warwick, why hast thou withdrawn thyself? Thy brother's blood the thirsty earth hath drunk, broached with the seely pointed Clifford's lance, and in the very pangs of death he cried, like to a dismal clangor heard from far, Warwick, revenge. Brother, revenge my death. So underneath the belly of their steeds, that stained their fetlocks in his smoking blood, the noble gentleman gave up the ghost. Then let the earth be drunken with our blood. I'll kill my horse because I will not fly. Why stand we like soft-hearted women here, wailing our losses, while the foe doth rage, and look upon as if the tragedy were played in jest by counterfeiting actors? Here on my knee I vow to God above, I'll never pause again, never stand still till either death hath closed these eyes of mine, or fortune given me measure of revenge. Oi, Warwick, I do bend my knee with thine, and in this vow do chain my soul to thine. And ere my knee rise from the earth's cold face, I throw my hands, mine eyes, my heart to thee, thou setter up and plucker down of kings, beseeching thee, if with thine will it stands, that to my foes this body must be prey. Yet that thy brazen gates of heaven may ope, and give sweet passage to my sinful soul. Now, lords, take leave until we meet again, where it be, in heaven or in earth. Brother, give me thy hand, and gentle Warwick, let me embrace thee in my weary arms. I that did never weep, now melt with woe that winter should cut off our springtime sow. Away, away. Once more, sweet lords, farewell. Yet let us all together to our troops, and give them leave to fly that will not stay, and call them pillars that will stand to us, and if we thrive, promise them such rewards as victors wear at the Olympian Games. This may plant courage in their quailing breast, for yet is hope of life and victory, for slow no longer, make we hence remain. Scene 4, another part of the field. Excursions into Richard and Clifford. Now, Clifford, I have singled thee alone. Suppose this arm for the Duke of York, and this for Rutland, both bound to revenge, wert thou environed with a brazen well. Now, Richard, I am with thee here alone. This is the hand that stabbed thy father York, and this is the hand that slew thy brother Rutland. And here's the heart that triumphs in their death, and cheers these hands that slew thy sire and brother, to execute the life upon myself, and so have it thee. They fight, Warwick enters, Clifford flies. Nay, Warwick, single out some other chase, for I myself will hunt this wolf to death. Scene 5. Another part of the field. Alarum, enter King Henry. This battle fares like to the morning's war, when thine clowns contend with growing light. What time the shepherd, blowing of his nails, can neither call it perfect day nor night. Now sways it this way like a mighty sea forced by the side to combat with the wind. Forced by the tide to combat with the wind.
Enemy dropping in.
Now sways it that way.
Less than 25.
Like the self-same sea forced to retire by fury of the wind.
Yourself off, regroup, and
Sometime the flood prevails, and then the wind. Now, one the better, then another best, both tugging to be victors breast to breast, yet neither conqueror nor conquered. So is the equal poise of this fell war. Here on this molehill will I sit my down, to whom God will, there be the victory. For Margaret, my queen, and Clifford too, have child me from the battle, swearing both they prosper best of all when I am thence. Would I were dead, if God's good will were so, for what is in this world but grief and woe? Oi, God, methinks it were a happy life to be no better than a homely swain, to sit upon a hill, as I do now, to carve out dials quaintly, point to point, thereby to see the minutes, how they run, how many make the hour full complete, how many hours bring about the day, how many days will finish up the year, how many years a mortal man may live. When this is known, then to divide the time, so many hours must I tend my flock, so many hours must I take my rest, so many hours must I contemplate, so many hours must I sport myself, so many days my youths have been with young, so many weeks ere the poor fools will e'en, so many years ere I shall shear the fleece, so minutes, hours, days, months, and years pass over to the end they were created, would bring white hairs unto a quiet grave. Ah, what a life were this! How sweet, how lovely! Gives not the hawthorn bush a sweeter shade to shepherds, looking on their silly sheep, than doth a rich embroidered canopy to kings that fear their subjects' treachery? Oui, yes, it doth a thousandfold, it doth. And to conclude, the shepherd's homely curds, his cold thin drink out of his leather bottle, his wont to sleep under a fresh tree's shade, all which secure and sweetly he enjoys, is far beyond a prince's delicates, his viands sparkling in a golden cup, his body couched in a curious bed, when care, mistrust, and treason wait on him. Alarum enter a son that hath killed his father with the dead body. Ill blows the wind that profits nobody. This man whom hand to hand I slew in fight may be possessed with some store of crowns, and I, that haply take them from him now, may yet ere night yield both my life and them to some many else, as this dead man doth me. Who's this? Oi, God! It is my father's face, whom in this conflict I unawares have killed, oi, heavy times begetting such events. From London by this king was I pressed forth. My father, being the Earl of the Warwick's man, came on the part of York's pressed by his master, and I, who at his hands received my life, have by my hands of life bereaved him. Pardon me, God, I knew not what I did. And pardon, Father, for I knew not thee. My tears shall wipe away these bloody marks, and no more words till they have flowed their fill. O a piteous spectacle, O a bloody times, while lions war and battle for their dens. Poor harmless lambs abide their enmity. Weep, wretched man, I'll aid thee tears for tear, and let our hearts and eyes, like civil war, be blind with tears, and break or charge with grief. And our father that hath killed his son with the body in his arms. Thou that so stoutly hast resisted me, Clayton Dale Smith, give me thy gold. If thou hast any gold, for I have bought it with 100 blows. But let me see, is this our foeman's face? Ah, no, no, no. It is mine only son. Ah, boy. If any life be left in thee, throw up in thine eye. See, what showers arise, blown with the windy tempest of my heart, upon thy wounds that kill my eye and heart. Oi, pity, God, this miserable age. What stratagems, how fell, how butcherly, erroneous, mutinous, and unnatural. This deadly quarrel daily doth beget. Oi, boy, thy father gave thee life too soon, and hath bereft thee of thy life too late. Woe above woe, grief more than common grief. Oi, that my death would stay these ruthful deeds. Oi, pity, gentle heaven, pity. The red rose and the white air on his face, the fatal colors of our striving houses. The one his purple blood right well resembles, the other his pale cheeks methinks presented, where the one rose and let the other flourish. If you contend 1,000 lives must wither, how will my mother for a father's death take on with me, and ne'er be satisfied? How will my wife for slaughter my son, sheet seas of tears, and ne'er be satisfied? How will the country for these woeful chances miss the king and not be satisfied? Was ever son so rued the father's death? Was ever father so bemoaned the son? Was ever king so grieved for subjects' woe? Much is your sorrow, mine 10 times so much. I'll bear thee thence, where I may weep my fill. These arms of mine shall be thy wound and shield. My heart, sweet boy, shall be thy sepulture, for from my heart thy image ne'er shall go. My signed breast shall be thy funeral bell, and so obsequious will thy father be. Aim for the loss of thee, having no more, as Priam was for all his valiant sons. I'll bear thee hence, and let them fight that will, for I have murdered where I should not kill. Sad-hearted men, much overgone with care, here sits a king more woeful than you are. Alone, King Arthur, Prince of Wales, and Exeter. Fly, father, fly, for all your friends are fled, and Warwick rages like a jackal. Away, for death doth hold us in pursuit. Mount you, my lord, toward Warwick. Posts remain. Edward and Richard, like a brace of greyhounds, having the fearful flying hare in sight, with fiery eyes and sparkling for very wrath, and bloody steel grasped in their ireful hands, are at our backs, and therefore hence amain. Away! For vengeance comes along with them. Nay, stay not to expostulate. Make speed, or else come after all away before. Nay! Take me with thee, good sweet Exeter. Not that I fear to say, but love to go, whither the king intends. Forward. Away. Scene 6, the same. A loud alarm into Clifford, wounded. Here burns my candle out. Aye, here it dies, which while it lasted gave King Henry light. Oi, Lancaster, I fear the overthrow more than my body's parting with my soul. My love and fear glued many friends to thee, and now I fall. Thy tough commixtures melt, impairing Henry, strengthening this proud York. The common people swarm like summer flies, and whither fly the gnats but to see the sun? And who shines now but Henry's enemies? O Phoebus, hadst thou never given consent that Clayton should check thy fiery steeds? Thy burning car never had scorched the earth, and Henry hadst thou swayed as kings should do, or as thy father and his father did, giving no ground into the house of York. They never then had sprung like summer flies, aye, and 10,000 in their luckless realm had left no mourning widows for our death. And now this day hast kept thy chair in peace. For what doth cherish weeds but gentle air? And what makes robbers bold but too much lenity? Bootless are plaints, and cureless are my wounds. No way to fly, no strength to hold out flight. The foe is merciless, and will not pity. And for at their hands I have deserved no pity. The air hath got into my deadly wounds, and much effuse of blood doth make me faint. Come, York and Richard, Warwick, and the rest. I stabbed your father's bosoms, split my breast. Allurement and retreat, enter Edward, George, Richard, Montague, Warwick, and soldiers. Now breathe we, lords. Good fortune bids us pause, and smooth the frowns of war with peaceful looks. Some troops pursue the bloody-minded queen, that led calm Henry though he were a king. as doth a sail filled with a fretting gust. Command an argosy to stem the waves. But thank you, Lord, that Clifford fled with them. No, 'tis impossible he should escape, for though before his face I speak the words, your brother Richard marked him for the grave, and wheresoe'er he is, he's surely dead. Whose soul is that which takes her heavy leave? A deadly groan, like life and death departing. See who it is, and now the battle's ended. If friend or foe, let him be gentle used. Revoke that doom of mercy, for 'tis Clifford, who not contented that he lopped the branch in hue and Rutland when his leaves put forth, but set his murdering knife unto the root from whence that tender spray did sweetly spring. I mean our princely father, Duke of York. From off the gates of York fetch down the head, your father's head, which Clifford placed there. Instead whereof let this supply the room. Measure for measure must be answered. Bring forth that fatal screech owl to our house, that nothing sung but death to us and ours. Now death shall stop his dismal threatening sound, and his ill-boding tongue no more shall speak. I think his understanding is bereft. Speak, Clifford, dost thou know who speaks to thee? Dark, cloudy death o'ershades his beams of life, and he nor sees nor hears us what we say. Oi, what he did, and so perhaps he doth, 'tis but his policy to counterfeit, because he would avoid such bitter taunts, which in the time of death he gave our father. If so thinkest vex him with eager words. Clifford, ask mercy and obtain no grace. Clifford, repent in bootless penitence. Clifford, devise excuses for thy faults. While we devise fell tortures for thy faults, thou didst love York, and I am son to York. Thou pitiest Rutland, I will pity thee. Where's Captain Margaret to fence you now? They mock thee, Clifford. Swear, as thou wast wont. What's not an oath? Nay, then the world goes hard, when Clifford cannot spare his friend an oath. I know by that he's dead, and by my soul, if this right hand would buy 2 hours' life, then I in all despite might rail at him. This hand should chop it off, and with the issuing blood trifle with villain whose unstaunched thirst York and young Rutland could not satisfy. Aye, by he's dead, off with the traitor's head, and reared in the place your father's stands, and now to London with triumphant march, there to the crown of England's royal kingdom, from whence shall Warwick cut the sea to France, and ask the Lady Bona for thy queen. So shalt thou sinew both these lands together, and having France thy friend, thou shalt not dread the scattered foe that hopes to rise again, for thou they cannot greatly seem to hurt, yet look to have them buzz to offend thine ears. First will I see the coronation, and then to Brittany I'll cross the sea, to effect this marriage so it please my lord. Even as thou wilt, sweet Warwick, let it be. For on thy shoulder do I build my seat, and never will I undertake the king wherein thy counsel and consent is wanting. Richard, I will create thee Duke of Gloucester, and George of Clarence, Warwick, as ourself, shalt do and undo as him thinketh best. Let me be Duke of Clarence, George of Gloucester. Gloucester's dukedom is too ominous. Tut. That's a foolish observation. Richard, be Duke of Gloucester. Now to London, to see these honors and possession.
Gas is moving in. Safe location.
To Clayton Dale Smith.
Yep, you're going to jail for it. You sure are, yes. Because I'm sitting at the chair, right? Just trying to confuse it. Let's confuse the robot with real life in a computer game.
Cancel that. You kept your squad mate alive. Most wanted contract complete.
Step by step. I'm not asking.
Taking effective fire! Changing mags!
Are you in combat? Okay.
Head to the safe zone. Gas is closing in.
To the ground!
In English? Thank you, William.
Enemies are dropping into the area. Watch the skies.
Enemy movement! Cancel that! Enemy movement!
You're being tracked by an enemy squad. Evade and survive. Remain. We lost that one, but we'll get a W next time.
Well, that was a good one. So I've been crowned the king officially. Very good.